Thank you. So I experienced a pretty major contrast, like some folks in the room did around the election. I personally know Donald Trump quite well, and it was just a really contrasting experience. So I kept asking myself, how could this possibly be working out for me? Over and over, and I am in my vacation home in Sedona for the next couple months. I'm like hiking my dogs and meditating, and I received an inspiration to tell a story in the hot seat, which I don't usually do, I just ask questions. And when I was 19, I gave away all of my TVs, and I didn't watch TV for 6 years. And through a random circumstance of events, I saw 2 hours of TV during this time. Gary Zukav on Oprah, and then I turned the TV on again like 3 weeks later, and it was Gary Zukav on Oprah again. And it was the same episode. And it was an illogical period of time for that to happen. So I go on Amazon, first book I ever ordered on Amazon is like $99, and I started reading every spiritual book available. Moved to Sedona in 2002 and was really isolated. So I started looking up all these websites for these spiritual authors, and they were terrible. Like the worst thing that had ever been produced. So I got a rocket of desire. I thought, I want amazing content and writing exercises and audio and video. This is 2002, so this is stuff that didn't exist that much back then. And I was super high and happy. I thought, people would pay for this. We'd do a subscription portion. I could do Don Miguel Ruiz was #1 on my list, Gary Zukav #2. I had never heard of Jerry Nestor at that time, and Deepak Chopra, and on and on. And I'm hiking and I'm thinking of these ideas, and they're lighting me up. And then on the third day of the highest high, I realized there was only a couple problems. Number one, I didn't know how to build this technology. Number two, I didn't know anybody who knew how to build this technology. And number three, I didn't know any of these authors. So I got really sad for like a day. And then that night, I went to go to the cafe to go write in my journal, and I'm putting on my makeup, and I almost am gonna start to cry because I'm so sad about this. And I look in the mirror, and with volume, said, Andrea, if God wanted you to be doing this, I don't even talk that way, but then you would be doing this, so you need to let this go. But like yelled at myself in the mirror, and I felt the weight of it lift off of me. That night, I go to the cafe, meet a guy, really handsome guy, and he happens to be visiting on a Chautauqua to Sedona, and he's a tech mogul in the Silicon Valley. I end up telling him my idea, and he says, well, my team can build that whole thing. That's completely no problem. You just have to get the authors. So I go, okay, no problem, except for I don't know the authors. Long story short, start dating that guy. I have other very successful companies. He has very successful companies. We forget all about this idea. He takes a job on the side for fun as a consultant on Arnold Schwarzenegger's campaign. I know this is going somewhere. And so we're at the inauguration, Schwarzenegger's inauguration, and the top political consultant on that campaign comes up to him and says, hey, I have another project for you. And this is a very busy tech guy, but he's like, anything you want. He says, I'm Don Miguel Ruiz's top Nagual, and Don Miguel wants to expand his technology basis, and he wants to expand his business into that. And Brian goes, you're not going to believe this, but Andrea has this whole company. A week later, Don Miguel hires us on the spot. We build this whole technology out. Fast forward, crazy circumstances and events happens where Gary Zukav ends up reaching out to me, not knowing that I build this company. So I was on The Apprentice. They asked me what my favorite non-business book was, and I said Heart of the Soul. So through a crazy circumstance of events, we end up reaching out to them to ask them for some free books. They say, we love Andrea. We watched that whole season because we read this interview and we want to meet her. I say, I'm bringing something for you, but I don't tell them what it is. I bring them a whole build out of what their website could be. They hire my company on the spot. They put me on their board of directors. And then they invited me to come with them to Oprah. I went backstage, front row, on Oprah, met her. She personally endorsed our product. She let us use her picture and an essay she wrote on our sales page, and it was the craziest full circle moment of like, oh, when I'm just bipping along and living my happy life, amazing things happen.
As they should.
Okay, so I wanted to play with you about a process that I've been working on and had some amazing results with, and see what comes out of that. So
let's talk about what the vibrational components of it are, because if you're having success with it, then it is vibrationally accurate.
Yeah, it's okay. So we'll talk about that. So 60 days ago, I had an epiphany, right? And I said, and it's ridiculous to say it because you've been telling us so many times in so many ways, and I finally was like, dummy, I get it, right? So I said, I'm going to, for the next 30 days, I wrote out a calendar, and I said, for 30 days, every day, I'm going to look at this calendar, and I'm going to write down the things that I'm doing to make sure that I stay happy. Here's the things that I like to do. Here's the things that get me in that positive place. And it forced me, early on it was a struggle because I'd forget, oh yeah, that calendar, I got to go do something to make me happy, which sounds crazy. But started to do that, and after a while it picked up momentum. And one of the things that I did was I wrote you a thank you letter for all the amazing things that happened as a result of the process, which hadn't happened yet. And so every day, twice a day, I would read that letter, picturing the hot seat and me reading it, or me saying it to you as if it had already happened. And I won't read the whole letter here, but some of the things that
So let's just talk about the vibrationally accurate components so far.
Okay.
So by writing the letter now about something that hadn't manifested as if it already had manifested, you blurred the lines of present and future and focused upon the vibration, which caused you to offer a vibration that was not split. And when a vibration isn't split and you focus upon it in a steady way, manifestations come to the vibration. Doesn't matter. Everything is now. So whether you're thinking about the past or the present or the future, you're doing it all right now.
Right.
I've found the vibrational frequency and I'm practicing it now because of something that is coming. But when you play it like that, it shores up the vibration now. Yes.
And the other aspect of it too is I wasn't that specific on some of it, because I noticed in the past I used to be very, very good at force filling my own grid. You know, I'd say, I want to date that person. I'm going to make this happen because she's the right one. And then I'd be dating her and I'd go, ooh, no, sorry. Right? But I was very good at that. I could pick jobs. I'm going to get that job and it's going to be awesome. And I would get it and I would be miserable. So this, I talked about, I was less specific. And I said, okay, so one of the things is I've always wanted to be in business with my best friend. And we're going to finally figure out something that's going to be in a fun field that I maybe have no business in, but we're gonna make that happen finally, and I'm gonna finally find the love of my life. And I wrote down all the attributes of this woman, and I found that in reading it, by the time in reading this letter to myself, pretending it had all already happened, I was in love with her, right? I didn't even know her, but the list was exhaustive, and it's like, this is the most amazing woman on the planet. And I wrote about how, and I'm going to lose 15 pounds, and I'm going to eat whatever I want, and I'm going to not exercise, and it's going to be fantastic. So I'm reading this miracle thing, and so over the 30 days, or 60 now, I didn't lose 15 pounds, I lost 17 pounds. Not, thank you, not changing anything. My best friend calls me out of the blue and says, I've got this amazing idea for a business, we're going to be partners, I have no business being in this field whatsoever, but it's the field I want to be in, and he said we're 50-50 partners, and we're getting all kinds of feedback on this is going to be this amazing thing. I'm going to be quitting my boring job soon and doing that full time. And then out of nowhere, a woman who I have carried a torch for 10 years, who we've been very, very good friends, all of a sudden one day says to me, I don't know why I'm saying this, but I can't not anymore. I am in love with you. And she is amazing, like amazing, and she's everything that's on the list. She's all of those things, and I'm sitting there and I keep looking at her going, really, me? And she's saying the same thing to me. I can't believe it. So I don't want to talk her out of it, but so everything that I put in here to thank you for, I'm here now to say thank you from the bottom of my heart.
So let's talk.
Let's see if I can breathe. First of all, I would like to say I love you and thank you. I am so appreciative of having you in my life, the teachings that I've learned, because my life is so rich and it is so fun.
It just has to be that way. In other words, what we did was we spoke some words, because words don't teach, that caused you to find resonance with who you really are. So what you're describing is the satisfaction of that pretty steady alignment. Yes.
And it's hilarious the way that things happen in my life. I get your CDs and I listen to them till the words are coming off them. And a few months ago you talked about, and today you've been talking about the difference between wanting, the vibration of wanting something and needing to do something.
Some people say that want and need are the same thing. And you got it. The desire engine or the opposition engine.
Right.
Yes.
So I thought about that, and the example was somebody that needed $10,000. And so I thought, wow, that's pretty powerful stuff. And I'm going to play the game. I'm going to put it out there. And I said, universe, I would like $20,000.
Just like blue glass butterflies and...
Yeah, and I didn't really think about it that much after that. I just thought, I really would like to have $20,000 to play with. And every now and then I would think, well, that would be kind of fun. When I get my $20,000, I'm going to do this. But the path to it was hilarious. I get a letter 2 weeks later, I swear, 2 weeks later, I get a letter in the mail that says, hello, you worked for us 20 years ago, and you have money in a pension plan. And we're going to give you an opportunity to take a lump sum payment out of your pension plan that you didn't even know you had. And if you're older than 59 and a half, you don't have to pay a penalty on it. And I was literally days over being 59 and a half. So I get a lump sum payment for $22,000. And it was no effort. And I had a blast with the way the whole thing evolved. When I got the money, that was fun too. But it was still the whole way that the thing evolved was hilarious to me.
Before you give us too much...
Thank you, Abraham. I've been listening to your tapes for about 4 years. This is the first time I've ever come to see you. I just want to say, I watched one Charlie Rose show in the last 10 years, and it was the one with fish. Everything you've been saying, I came here with lists of questions, and I've had these questions for 2 years. They're gone now.
But there will be more.
Oh, well, I just want to share one incredible thing that happened. When I first heard the Abraham material, I just felt like, oh, this is the truth I've been waiting for. I love this. So I needed $30,000. So I said to the universe, I want $30,000. And I said, and I want it to come in a way that doesn't hurt anybody. I don't want someone to die. And I said...
You'll get over that in time.
Well, at the time, I have actually. That was a requirement. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm saying it was my requirement. And I said, and I want it to come in a way that it makes me laugh. And I want it to come in a way that is so ridiculous that I will always know that law of attraction is powerful and works. So, I guess I was also. So I started to do what you said, and pretty soon it was like I had moved into a reality in which I was going to get $30,000. Well, I'd get so excited. I'd drive down the street and I'd think, I wonder if there's an armored car. Maybe it's going to toss like $30,000 out at me. And then I'd be walking around and I'd think, maybe there's a diamond ring somewhere. I got to the point where I didn't have a doubt that I was going to have $30,000.
And you were beating the drum of expectation. You were bringing yourself little by little into more and more plausible expectation.
Yeah, and it was so much fun.
Yes.
And finally, I want to add one more thing. Let me think. I went out shopping one day, and I was buying all these dresses. And suddenly, I had this little thought, you don't have any money. And then I thought, well, that doesn't matter because I'm getting $30,000. And you know the end of the story. But a dear, dear friend of mine, somebody I love, said that they were going to come up and see me. And I hadn't seen this person in maybe 10 years, something like that. And I was just happy to see my friend. And this friend, as far as I knew, was not wealthy. And the friend came up, and we go way back. And the friend came up and said, well, I just won the lottery. And I said, good, do I get my $30,000? And my friend said, yes. And I got my $30,000. And see, here's the thing. we would go out to breakfast afterwards, and I'd say to my friend, "You just won the lottery." And we'd laugh. We'd sit there. We'd fall over laughing. We were like holding our stomachs. We were laughing. And that was my condition. It had to make me laugh. And I was there laughing and saying, this is my condition.
And so now are you understanding that you can open the vortex in a very wide way? In other words,